Okay, here's part two of your 2-for-1 special on this glorious Thursday morning. And we're going to be, if you haven't already done so, you may want to stop or pause this and go ahead and print out, which is attached to your assignments page, section 5.1, problem set number 1. And we're going to be solving inequalities by addition and subtraction. All right? And we're going to use a property that you're already familiar with. It's called addition property of inequalities. All right? And you've used this exact same property in the situation of additional properties of equalities, which we did, I believe, back in section 1.2 or 1-3, clear back in August and September. And there's really there's no difference. There will be when we start doing multiplication and division, particularly with negative numbers, but we probably won't be touching that until Monday morning, most likely. All right. So again, we're just going to be solving for a variable. But instead of having an equal sign in this equation, it's an inequality. It's not equal to each other. But we're going to move stuff back and forth across that and just treat it like it was an equation of applying almost the exact same property. So I'm going to use the example so I don't have to turn my back to you, but it says solve the equation x minus 8 is less than or equal to negative 6, and then graph the solution. All right? The one way I remember if what's less than what's greater than is, since this is a smaller end or smaller side of it, that's usually the less than, whereas this one has the greater or larger side of this, so it's greater than or larger than. All right? So we're going to isolate the variable on one side of the equation and put the plain vanilla numbers on the opposite side of the equation. So here's the initial equation down to here, and the only thing we have to do is move that 8 to the other side. By applying this addition property of inequalities, we're just going to, if I add 8 to this side, that'll move that negative 8 to the other side. But remember, this rule in kind of generic terms means if whatever I do to the left side, I've got to do the exact same thing to the right side. That keeps it in balance. That's why it's an addition property of inequalities. All right? So if I add 8 to this side, I got 8 to this side, and I end up with negative 6 plus 8 is a positive 2. So the solution to this inequality is x is less than or equal to 2. All right? And then they also want you to graph it. All right? Now, if you remember back in the fall, since this has an equal part of that inequality, it says x is less than or equal to, it also includes 2. So it's a solid colored line, all right? And we shade to the left because it's less than. Our numbers are getting smaller as we move less. All right? If you always have this variable over on the left side, it's actually telling you which way to graph that line. All right? So let's look at, I'll take a pause here for a second, look at that. And if you've got any questions, get with me on Friday morning during our 9 to 10 a.m. Zoom office hours, and we can do a little one-on-one on that. All right, so here we got the equation 4 minus 2a is greater than negative a. No equal sign, so we're going to have a hollow circle when we get down to graphing it. All right? So we're going to get the variables on the left side and the numerals or integers on the other side. All right? So we are going to move the 2a over to the right side by adding 2a to the left side, which will zero out or cancel out that negative 2a. And if I add 2a to this side, I've got to add 2a to the other side. All right? What else are we going to do here? I think that's it. So that ends up with leaving 4 on the left side, and negative a plus 2a is a positive a. Now, the way to graph that is you always want that variable over on the left side of the inequality. So just reverse the order, which is another property that permits you to do that. And the way I always remember to do it is just reverse the order. And here, the inequality is pointing at the a, and just make sure it's still pointing at the a. So your bottom answer, or your final answer is a is less than 4, which also can be read as 4 is greater than a. But this makes more sense. It also will make sure that you graph it, or help to ensure that you graph it correctly. So in this situation, we're going to go a is less than 4. We hollow circle 4 because it does not include that value, and then we move it and shade to the left of the graph. All right? Make sure you pay attention to this and moving that variable over to the left side of the inequality. You'll need that for number 3 and some of the other ones. All right, hope that makes sense. If you want a different perspective on how to do this, I've got an additional link to Patrick JMT, and he'll give you a little bit slightly different perspective, same basic information. He'll start talking a little bit about multiplication and division of inequalities, which we won't start until next Monday, most likely. All right, hope you're doing well. Look forward to seeing you during the Zoom meetings, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., Monday through Friday. Just like to see your smiling face, and we'll be talking to you real soon. Have a good day. Bye.